What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets right here on the Mayo Media Network. Happy Wednesday. I'm your host, Chris Meaney. Thanks, as always, for taking the time to hang out. We got 5 games on the ice tonight. It's a weird schedule. No Habs, no Oilers, no Habs all week. Don't know what I'm going to do with myself. But only 3 games on the main slate, but I got Russ Prentice from FTN, a fantastic guest here, a very knowledgeable hockey guy. We're going to break it all down with Russ in a little bit, talk about something interesting that happened last night in the NHL, and also just some props and some picks. But first, it is time for the Prize Picks play of the day. Follow the link in the description for a 100% first deposit match over at prizepicks.com. You can mix and match across all the sports that you love: golf, March Madness heating up, baseball's around the corner, NBA, and of course hockey. And that's what we're going to do here for you today. I got 2 that have, I don't think I've taken these guys all year. Anze Kopitar, 3.1 against the San Jose Sharks, and Sidney Crosby, 3.6 against a hockey team called the Buffalo Sabres. Let's start with Kopitar. This guy, we talked about him on Monday, just very disrespected in Vegas, in season-long drafts, DraftKings, FanDuel, doesn't really get a whole lot of love. He's got 37 points. He's tied for 8th in the NHL, 29 assists, the 4th most in the game. He's got points in 10 of his last 12 games, 4 goals and 16 points over that span. Not a volume shooter, not a big shooter, so I think that's why we're getting, the low 3.1 fantasy point total here from Prize Picks, but 10 shots in his last 4 games. He's 6th among forwards in ice time. Love that. He's always on the ice. He's the guy that has the puck on his stick all the time on the power play as well. And the Kings have the 11th best power play. And for the Sharks, we've been picking on the SJ Sharkies just a little bit defensively. 5-5 per 60 minutes, according to Natural Stat Trick. The 4th most shot attempts, the 6th most shots, 4th most goals, 7th most scoring chances, and 7th most high danger chances. And they've been shorthanded more than any team in the league. That's right, even more than the Canucks, shorthanded the most per game in the NHL. So maybe a couple power plays, and we find a couple points for Kopitar. He's got 2 goals and 3 points in 3 games against the Sharks. And the other one with Crosby, don't have to really say a whole lot here. Dustin Tokarski is in net for the Buffalo Sabres, and I'll be honest, I had to take a look to see when the last time he played. I know he came in for relief earlier this week, and he let in 4 goals against the Rangers. He came in for relief last year with the Ducks. This is his first start in the NHL since 2015. I saw him play live at the Bell Center in the round 3 against the Rangers in the playoffs in 2014. He is not all that good. I'll be rooting for him, but Crosby at 3.6, I think we got to take a shot here. He's got points in 13 of his last 17 games, 16 of 20, 7 goals and 20 points over that span, and shooting the puck a lot lately too. 20 shots in his last 3 games. He had 1 game with 7 shots on goal. So good matchup. He's got 2 points in 2 games against the Sabres. So let's take them over on both. And let's bring in Russ Prentice. You can give him a follow, Russ1 Prentice. He does some fantastic work for us over at FTN. His cheat sheets are unbelievable. He's got a FanDuel one and a DraftKings one where he really breaks down absolutely everything: lines, who's hot, who's cold, value on both sites. He's projecting points and games, and it's nice. Russ, and I know you're on the West Coast, so thanks for joining me. And I love the Seattle Kraken hat you're rocking. Welcome, man.
Thanks, Chris. Glad to be on.
Russ, I don't know if you saw the tweet last night from our guy, Matty Best. Matt, you want to walk us through the last 12 to 15 hours of your life since you tweeted that?
It's been interesting. I was watching the game for my other job over at Sportsnet, and it was going to intermission. Usually we get the back call, so we get to listen to what the broadcasters are saying between the broadcasters and the producers. And 99% of the time, all that's like private hush-hush stuff, none of it incriminating. And then I heard that, and I was like, well, he just said fuck on air. And I was like, I don't know what that was about. Then I ran it back again. I was like, oh, he's talking about makeup calls to a player. And first, I did think it was someone part of the play-by-play or color crew. And I thought about it again. I DM'd a few of my buddies, and they're like, no, this is like a ref for sure. And I was like, okay. So I looked at who was reffing the game, and I went, oh, surprise, Tim Peel. Got it. Cool. This all makes sense now. And then after, so I do a regional podcast called Lockdown Predators, and I was like, I'll just tweet this to my audience who's very Nashville centric, just for them to see it. and it took off. I did not expect it to take off whatsoever. And my phone it froze for 15 minutes at one point. Keith Olbermann retweeted it, and he's got over 1 million followers. And I was like, I don't know what to do now. And I think my favorite part has been the people who have been either DMing me or replying to me and being like, why are you surprised at this, you asshole? And it's like, I'm not surprised at this. Like, everyone knows that makeup calls exist in almost every single sport. This is just the first case of them publicly coming out and being like, yeah, we were blatantly looking for a makeup call, and I'm discussing it openly with a hot mic to different players. The whole topic of debate here shouldn't be, well, this is wrong. Yeah, no shit, it's wrong. Everyone knows it's wrong. It's now, how do you fix this? And the one thing I was thinking of is, you know how the NBA has that final minute of play report? Have something like that in hockey, but don't have it for the final minute. Have it for a whole game. If anything, you're creating jobs, and you're creating accountability for the game, and you're creating integrity, because the NHL is taking on so much more in terms of the gambling world, that something like this is going to be absolutely necessary after an incident by yours truly, Tim Peel.
You're gonna get Tim Peel fired. The 428,000 views as of right now. I mean, you tweeted this 12 hours ago, and I was trying to figure out the timeline. I wasn't watching this game last night, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was a Victor Arvidsson penalty, and Peel is just saying in the video that there really wasn't much there, that he wanted to get a fucking penalty against Nashville early in the game. Is that's the gist of it?
That's pretty much it. I mean, RV went down and he got a tripping call, but the other guy dove. Everyone knew he dove, but the dive wasn't called because it was a makeup call. And then between the breaks during the game, he skated over and was talking to a bench and was just explaining why he gave the call. I'm assuming he wasn't talking to anyone on the Nashville side, because that would just make people want to kill Tim Peel. But like you said, he has to be fired. That's the only way around it. And sadly, I think the NHL is just going to go, all right, you quietly go take a vacation for the rest of the year and you're done. I don't think there'll be anything massive coming out of it, which is sad because you need something to come out of this.
Yeah. Russ, what do you make of this? Like, games aren't rigged in the NHL, but man, the refs have a lot of pull and a lot of say. And you were talking off air before we got on here that you ref some sporting events as well. There's just makeup calls all the time. I mean, you see it. I don't know how many times I've seen that. And I think other teams know that too. Like one or two penalties, chintzy calls, all of a sudden you just know, even as a fan watching, oh, the next one's on, our team or that team or the other team. Like, you see this a lot, Russ. It is a problem. It's not a good look.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in the NFL all the time on penalties and stuff like that, where there's a tic-tac call, and then 2 minutes later there's a holding call on the other side. That's just a makeup call. And I like I was saying earlier, I nowhere near the same level, but I officiated high school football in San Diego for a couple of years, and it's something I don't think I ever consciously acted on, but you always have this thought when you make a borderline call, and like, well, maybe I made a mistake, maybe I need to make some retribution for that, but I hope I never did that. It's just something that pops into your head when you make a call that maybe you reflect back on that you maybe shouldn't have. And it's hard. It's hard. I don't think anybody really truly understands how difficult officiating is until you actually get out there and do that. And I was doing it on a level that's much less than these guys are doing, and it's tough. It's a tough thing to do. So I respect these officials for the most part. I know how hard it is to be there in the middle of the game, and these guys are doing it at a pro level. It's totally different level than I had done it on.
Yeah, I don't think anything comes of this, Matt. Maybe you're right. Maybe Peel is done for the year, or they have a talk where they watch their hot mics. I don't know. It's tough. I just wanted to bring that up because Matt's gonna have to turn off his phone for a week because it's gonna continue to blow up. Everyone follow Matt on Twitter, best of Matt, and just retweet. 2K, man.
Yeah,
2K.
as long as you're not an asshole and think that I'm taking a stance on this one way or the other. Like, I'm obviously taking a stance on the podcast and everywhere else, but the only tweet I've replied to is someone sent me a gif of the longest yard of the ref getting hit in the nuts and saying, "How about you call a fair game?" I was like, I didn't want to reply to anyone, but this is the best reply I'll get all night.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, the Preds escaped last night. They got the victory. Maybe they'll get going, Russ. I know they're a team that we liked. We thought that they would be a little bit better. Matt follows them, does a podcast surrounded around the Nashville Predators, so he knows them pretty well. They are not on the slate, as I mentioned. 5 games. We got some afternoon action here. We got Flames and Sens at 5 Eastern. We got Anaheim and Minnesota, and then just the 3 games on the main slate. But we'll break it down for DraftKings in just a little bit here. But let's start with Calgary and Ottawa. The Sens plus 160, 19 and 15 against the spread. The total here is 6.5. Ottawa hanging around. They've beaten most of the teams actually in the North Division. 11, 20 and 3. Had their way with Calgary this season. Minus 186. The Flames 14 and 19 against the spread. Philip Gustafsson, Russ, played pretty well. He had 35 saves in the 2-1 victory on Monday, and the Flames wouldn't even give him the puck. I don't know if you saw the end of the game. There's like, give me the puck. Yeah, Brady was after the puck, and finally they gave it to him, and it was his brother Matthew who shot it down the ice, like he was in Pee-wee hockey or something. But what do you make? What's that?
I thought that was a little more playful than I don't think they were being malicious. It was kind of more playful.
They definitely had a beer about a beer after. Maybe not, but they wanted to probably have a beer after and talk about it. But it's tough times these days to have beers with friends and brothers. Okay, so what do you make of this matchup? 6.5. I've been kind of picking unders when it comes to the Sens and the Flames. That's my first lean here. Minus 186 is tough. There's a lot of heavy favorites here, but bounce back for the Flames. And what do you make of this Calgary team too? Like, they've been just very inconsistent.
I feel like they've been terrible, but I look back and they've won like 5 of 8. I mean, they haven't been bad in game wise. Their offense has just been horrendous. They're playing solid defense for the most part, other than the 7 Edmonton game that they played recently. I mean, they're just a low-scoring, ugly team right now. It's just not a very good offense, and they're playing some pretty good defense. Markstrom's been pretty solid in net, and got a pretty good blue line in terms of with Hannafin blocking shots and other guys. Tanev is playing well, and I don't know. I mean, Gustafsson on the other side, Gustafsson played really well, but I'm not sure if it was all him and so much the Calgary's lack of offense recently. Right. And I looked at Gustafsson's stats in the AHL, and he was not that good in the AHL for 2.5 years. I mean, he was about a 3.25 GAA and a sub 900 save percentage in his 2+ seasons down in the AHL. So I did not expect him to come up and essentially shut out an NHL team. I mean, it was kind of a surprise to me. I didn't go heavy on Calgary the other night, but I did use them on one team, and neither one of the 2 guys I used put up a point. So Gustafsson got me, but I wouldn't be shocked if Calgary made some changes tonight and got a couple past them.
Yeah, so it's not going to be on the main slate. You're going to have to like play some showdown or whatnot. I don't feel like there's really going to be much offense. I think the play is under 6.5.
I agree.
You're right about the Flames, and you bring in Daryl Sutter and what he's been able to do, with former teams. He's got the 2 cups over the past, 10 years or so. Even when he was with the Flames in 2014 or 2004, rather, it was, 2 goals per game allowed. I mean, they were a strong team then, and they could score some goals, but they really played lockdown mode. The Kings didn't have a ton of offense, but they had the 2 cups. They did enough, obviously, and they played shutdown mode as well. And this just doesn't seem to be a lot of offense, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I would, maybe in a 5-game slate, I'd say, okay, maybe we can take a shot on a Gaudreau or a Monahan, but these guys are they're not getting it done. They don't look confident. It's not, I don't feel great putting my money down on these players to, hit their shot props or get points. So there's really not a lot for me in this. I mean, Ottawa's won 4 of 6. I mean, if you want to keep going with the trend here, they've played the Flames really tough. I mean, they've done a great job, and they've beaten the Leafs a few times. They've beaten the Habs. They have hung around. The spread tells you 6-19-15 against the spread. The only thing that really kind of jumps out besides the under 6.5, which I will take, under 6.5 Calgary and Ottawa. These no points, been trying these out at DraftKings. My book doesn't offer it, but been having some fun over at FTN. No points, Dadnoff. It's a guy who's 5 straight games without a point. Doesn't, his ice time is all over the place, sometimes 13, 15, and maybe he's hot and he has a game with 18 minutes here, but this is kind of juiced. It is it's not too bad, minus 148. He's under 2.5 shots is minus 162, but Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk. I don't know. Brady Tkachuk is not for me. There was Russ, I don't know if you saw in the FTN Discord on Monday, a subscriber had saw Brady Tkachuk. I think it was late Monday night, was like plus 900 for 4 shots. And then he went down to plus 400 for 4 shots and it was just taken off the book. I don't know if it was a mistake or if the guys making the props on DK were out having beers with Brady Tkachuk, as the guys in the show said on Tuesday, but I'm not going to dabble on Tkachuk brothers with the shots, but if there was one that you wanted from this game, it probably would one of those Tkachuk brothers, right, Russ? They are volume shooters.
Yeah, those are the two I'd got. One of the surprising things, I did look at some of the numbers in this game last night. Gaudreau actually shockingly had his 13th goal on Monday, and in how many games they've played, that's actually a 32 goal pace in an 82 game season, which
interesting,
fairly respectable. I mean, it was kind of shocked me at how well he's actually been playing it, because I've used him a bunch and he hasn't done much for me in DraftKings. So I was kind of shocked how well he's actually played.
Maybe I was a little hard on him. Yeah.
I mean,
2 goals, 2 in his last 4. It does seem like he's been quiet though, right? It does seem like that. Maybe my expectations are a little high for him, and where's the offense? They need a little bit more from him, and I think especially Sean Monahan. I mean, Monahan's got the 7 goals and 20 points in the season, but he's been held out a point in 5 straight games. He had the 2 against the Canadians, but before that it was like 3 straight without a point as well.
He did a lot of that. He did a lot of that damage in a short period too. There was like a week and a half where Monahan was one of the hotter players in the league. So looking at the rest of the season, he's been pretty ice cold.
Yeah. Matt, what do you think about the Flames, man? Is they a playoff team? Are they going to turn things around?
I don't have faith in them making the playoffs this year. There's just too much inconsistencies going around. Speaking of consistencies, though, Tim Peel has just been told that he's not reffing any more games this year.
Oh, wow. Just like that. Well, there you go. Do you feel guilty?
Well, a little, but not really at all. Producer Drew, our pal of the show, messaged me last night, and he's like, "You definitely need to put 'I got Tim Peel fired' in your Twitter bio." And I was like, "Yeah, I probably should do that. Like, I don't feel bad. He did this to himself."
Yeah. All right. There you have it. Big news. Okay, we'll move on from the Flames and the Sens. It is, I don't know, if you're looking for an underdog, I think maybe potentially. I would expect the Flames' best effort tonight. Like, this is go time. You got to start winning some hockey games. And again, Ottawa's just played so tough, but I think the under is the play here. So another game that we saw on Monday, we had Minnesota and Anaheim. This is a game in Minnesota tonight, and heavy favorites here with the Wild on the board. And with the Ducks, this was a tight game. Another one that was, it started off, there wasn't really a whole lot of offense. We did not get Zuccarello's shot prop for the first time in maybe 10 games. We didn't get it. He didn't have a shot. The Wild minus 230 favorites here. 5.5 is the total. Anaheim plus 195 on the road. 20-13 against the spread. They've played 21 goal games, the most in the NHL. They've hung around as well. 9-18 on the season, 6 overtime / shootout losses, and then 19-10-1 for Minnesota. So We got lucky with the Wilds. Had them on the puck line though, so if you had them on the puck line, you did not get lucky last game. I thought we'd see a little bit more, but they have won a lot of games at home here, Russ. They're a strong hockey team at home. Do you feel like there's an upset? What do you make of this matchup?
I like the Wild tonight. I
Yeah.
think they pull out another one. Anaheim is just they're not a good hockey team this year at all. I've liked John Gibson over the years, but he can't do it all. And he's been cracking the last year and a half here. So it's just tough to stop when you're in a shooting gallery every night. And they've got some young players that are hopefully going to turn out to be solid plays down the road, but they're just not ready. They're not ready for NHL success. The Wild have been great this year. They've surprised me a lot. I thought they were going to struggle this year, but they've turned out to be much better offensively than I expected. And I always like their defense. Their defensive players. They're just loaded on the blue line. Their offense and their goaltending way better than I expected. Although recently, they got just completely destroyed in those two games by Colorado.
Colorado really put them in their place, right?
I don't know if they're still on a little hangover from that, but they did not look great on Monday against the Ducks, but pulled it out.
Yeah.
Losing Dumba, I don't know how long Dumba's going to be out. Hopefully, maybe he's back tonight, but I'm not sure for them. He didn't play on Monday.
No, and just they're still so loaded on the blue line, to your point, that they've already played a handful of games without Dumba. You mentioned Brad Hunt, right? Was on the first power play unit. He's interesting. Russ has these great part of his cheat sheets. Just all the power plays laid out there for you. Do they correlate? Do they also play 5-on-5 as well as on the same power play unit? I thought maybe Spurgeon would get an opportunity. I think Suter scored his first goal of the season in the game on Monday, but a lot of these guys are fairly cheap if you are playing DK, but again, it's not in the main slate. So I'm going to go back to Zuccarello. We've talked about this before on the show. Just short memory, whatever. This is a guy who had hit, the over 1.5 consistently. It was like 10 of 12 games and then does nothing in the last game, but I'll go back to him. I don't mind it. 1.5 again here today. Kirill, what do they call him? Dollar bill Kirill Kaprizov, minus 155 to score a point. I don't mind that. It's not bad. I don't know if we're going to get Gibson or we're going to get Ryan Miller, but you're right. Gibson hasn't been great anyways. He's kind of just been crashing over the past few weeks. No point, Rickard Rakell. We hit that one on Monday. I'm going to go right back to it. I know he's a volume shooter. He may lead the Ducks among forwards in ice time as well, but minus 122 for no points for Rakell. And I kind of lean the under. It doesn't really matter who the Wild play in net. To your point, this is the first of a back-to-back for them. They could go Cam Talbot. Talbot's been solid, 918 save percentage, a 254 goals against average. So I like Mini too. It's just tough to, maybe you got to put them in your parlays. It's tough to lay that juice, like such heavy favorites. I think maybe 1.5 goals is fine, but they do still play this tight style of hockey. And, they don't score a lot of goals, even though they check a lot of boxes, 5-on-5. They generate a lot of high danger chances. They control the puck. They don't give up a whole lot. They're very stingy unless they're playing Colorado. They give up like 97 shots in 2 games, but I will lean with the puck line, but I think the under is another strong play. Okay, so let's get into the main slate here. We'll talk DK at the end, but Buffalo 2-5. They are heavy road dogs. Pittsburgh minus 275, 14-18 against the spread, 19-11-2 for the Pens, 6-20-4 for the Buffalo Sabres. Man, it has been bad. We said off the top, Dustin Tokarski. It's been a long, long time since this guy has started a game in the NHL. Got to go all the way back to the 2015 season. I don't know. At one point, maybe the Sabres are going to win. I'm not going to get involved with the Pens. It's either you take them on the puck line, or I think you just go with the upset and Buffalo wins the game. Is this the night, Russ? Buffalo wins a hockey game.
I'm not sure they win tonight, but it's not. There's no value in Pittsburgh either. It's just too much delay, and in any game like any game, I'm not playing 275 to 300. in the game of hockey can go anyway. And I talked about that preseason with gold when you're picking goals in DFS. It's don't bank on wins. I mean, you can't. Much the best team in hockey is only going to win 65% of their games. So you're gonna go for those wins. You're gonna be hurting. That's what you're doing tonight with Pittsburgh. 275 range. One of the things I noticed about Buffalo, though, they're actually not giving up very much power play. They're fifth fewest minutes in the league per game, and Pittsburgh eats on the power play. So if Buffalo can stay out of the penalty box, they could hang with Pittsburgh. I mean, Buffalo's not scoring. They also have the fewest even strength goals in the league by a wide margin. So they're not a good hockey team, but they can stay clean. Tokarski surprises, and this could be an ugly 3-2 game either way, and who knows? But not a very good team. But Pittsburgh is not playing great hockey either right now.
No, they're not. You were cutting in and out there. I don't know if that was on my end. That's all right. We'll just we'll get you to speak up a little bit louder. It's all good. Matt, what do you think? Buffalo's lost 14 straight games. Their goal differential is minus 42. Russ brings up a good point. When you look at their numbers, they don't generate a lot offensively, and they're without Jack Eichel and Taylor Hall struggling and Jeff Skinner, all these guys we've talked about so much. But they have, poor Tokarski, but they have, done a great job of eliminating. They're not among the leaders in giving up a lot of quality chances, but man, we've been just puck lining them nonstop. Is this a route you're going to go again with when it comes to the Sabres tonight?
They got my money once on the puck line in the last game against the Rangers, and I felt good at the start of the game. I know a few buddies who run Buffalo money line, absolute insanity. But they took my money once. They're not taking it again. But Pittsburgh's not taking my money either at minus 275. That's just too much to lay. You're not making any money if you include the Penguins. Even on a parlay, you're not going to boost it by much. We're nearing the point where I hate this narrative, but the Sabres are due. And I hate that narrative more than anything. I hate saying a team is due. But come on, they are due at some point. 6-20-4, riding this big losing streak. Their offense, every team can find it one night, and I'm just terrified that this will be the night. The Pens, though, I think the Pens have been sneaky good at 19-11-2. I think if you just blindly asked me what the Penguins' record was, I wouldn't have guessed 19 wins. I would have guessed a lot lower than that. But like I said, minus 275, too much. Don't want to take the Sabres on the spread either. I'm just going to leave this game alone. Probably take Crosby over shots 2.5.
Yeah, I got Crosby written down here. I like the over 2.5. Gensel's been doing it here and there. It's not as consistent. I think if you can find Brian Russ, that's the line. They're playing a lot together. If they do get some power plays, to Russ's point, it's been a potent power play. And Crosby, as we said off the top of the show, he's just been shooting a little bit more. So we'll put Crosby in there. Not bad. Minus 125 for 2.5 shots. I was a coward on Monday with the no points for Hall and Reinhart. I wanted to do it so bad. They're both sitting there just staring at me, no points, minus 118. They're not going to be in my parlay. I like Raquel, no point, Dadonov, no point, a little bit more, but I think you can have some fun on what is a short and weird slate with a lot of heavy favorites. Maybe you just have some fun with these parlays or these props rather, as opposed to laying the juice on, a Pittsburgh or a Minnesota. Next game, LA and San Jose. This is basically a pick 'em, minus 108 for the Sharks at home, 18-12 against the spread, 5-5 is the total here, 12-14-4 on the season, San Jose, and LA 13-12-6, minus 108, 22-9, the Kings on the spread here. This was another game on Monday that was 2-1. So a lot of these games, it was 2-1 Sens on Monday against Calgary. It was 2-1 Minnesota on Monday, Minnesota over Anaheim. And then this one here was 2-1 Sharks. I thought we'd see a little bit more offense. I wasn't surprised to see maybe LA Russ lay an egg after they just had a hard fought game against Vegas on Sunday where they pulled that victory out, and it was a quick turnaround for them. It was the second half of a back-to-back, and now they play a Sharks squad. What do you think? What's your initial thoughts on this matchup?
I've been I've been on the Sharks. I've been waiting on the Sharks to pop a little bit offensively, and it just hasn't happened. I mean, they had a really good game against Vegas a couple games ago, but they've been zeros on this homestand. Against St. Louis, who hasn't been good defensively, and then the Kings, who haven't been good defensively, and they're just not scoring goals right now. And I don't know. I don't know if it's anything specific, but they have 5 really good forwards, and they kind of spread it around a lot. They like one night Keane will score, and then Couture will score, and then Timo Meyer will score, and Hertl will score. They don't have a specific line that goes bonkers any given night. They did again in that Vegas game, but they seem to spread it around quite a bit. And then they're also mixed and matched. Up until recently, they had been kind of mixed and matched on the power play. So it's hard to lock them down and figure out which one's going to go. The Kings are essentially a one-line team. I do like their second line a little bit, and Kempe and Athanasio has been some value plays, one-offs and stuff like that. But I mean, they're probably the majority of their offense. But I don't know. It's just not a very good hockey. They're two teams that are subpar defensively, not great offensively, and neither goaltender has played really well either. So any of their 4 goaltenders haven't played well. So it's just kind of an ugly game altogether. I could see either team scoring 5, and I could see this going 2-1 again. I mean, it's kind of a bad game to try to target or tag the right line.
I know every time that the Sharks play, again, off the top, I was just rattling off a lot of their numbers. And Matt, we talked about LA generating some high danger chances in this division being, kind of wide open, but really there's a lot of games that just disappoint you from a DFS standpoint. This would have been one. Last week, the Sharks and the Blues thought we'd see some goals, and it was just a grind, not a lot of offense there either. I kind of feel the same way you do, Russ. I think we can take maybe some shots in DFS. I mean, Hertl's got 2 goals and 7 points in 7 games since returning, but I was on him to pick up a point the other night. He was minus 125 to score a point. He didn't do it. Couture is minus 155 for a point. Kopitar is totally just, it's out of whack at minus 230 to pick up a point. Doesn't seem like there's anything here for me in this game besides Dustin Brown. And it's not breaking any news here, but 2.5 minus 125. You can use our free prop shop over at ftmbets.com. You type in a player, you type in a team, it will bring up the best odds across all the books available. And you can see the best odds. William Hill is plus money for Dustin Brown. I don't understand that one. It's silly. Bet365 has caught on, usually around minus 140, 150. I saw him minus 167. I think it was Bet MGM minus 167 on Monday. He's had at least 3 shots in 12 straight games. He just likes to shoot the puck. I don't know if it's part of his contract, like incentives, or I don't understand, Russ, what it is, but this guy will shoot from everywhere. He doesn't care at all. I saw in a rush, there was no business for him to shoot the puck, and he could have flipped it into the corner of your teammate, and he shot it from the corner, and hey, it was a shot on goal, and we'll take it. We don't care about that stuff. So Brown for me is the one. And then if I had to lean aside, it probably would be with the Kings, but I don't think I'm going to have them in my card. I like this next game. I think this is decent value for the Jets, minus 148. We were on the Monday. They had the 4-0 victory against Vancouver. I thought maybe potentially the Canucks would, come out flat, and they did. They had the lengthy road trip out east, and there's their first game back after that road trip, and they just didn't look good. They looked flat. I think Bo Horvat left the game too, so they're already without Elias Pettersson, and this is a team too. They're not great. I thought they'd be a little bit better than what they are, Russ. I know a lot of people are all over their defense. I don't mind their defense. I think, they have some guys who can play, and Myers and Edler and Quinn Hughes still learning to play a defensive style of hockey. But, even Schultz, they have some guys, but it's not clicking for them. They're not really scoring any goals lately, and it's just been all Thatcher Demko. If it wasn't for Demko, my goodness, this would be one of the worst teams in the entire league. 24-8 on the spread for Winnipeg. The total here is 6. I like the Jets. Again, I lean with the under. I don't know how many goals they're going to be able to get on Connor Hellebuck. I know he's been a little inconsistent, but this is just a really good matchup for them in the Jets. I'd like them in DFS too tonight.
I agree. I have like a little metric that I have when I'm doing my rankings, and Vancouver's the second worst right now.
Second worst.
Second worst. Ottawa's the only one. It's basically I have them as they allow 17% more scoring chances than the average team in the league.
Wow,
and that's a lot. It's quite a bit. Winnipeg is kind of right in the middle offensively. They're about 3.5% above average. So the difference between those two numbers, you're looking at a 20.5% above average for Winnipeg. You take the two numbers and add them together. So Winnipeg's in a pretty good spot tonight offensively. I like to target second lines on the road. So the Kyle Connor, Ehlers,
ooh, yeah,
Pierre-Luc Dubois line would be the one I target tonight. It seems like they've been the best line for Winnipeg for a little while. Anyways. I don't know, the Sheffield Wheeler I've seen quite recently. I may have not seen every game, maybe not played a Sunday game or something that I missed them do something on, but I think it just feels like the Connor Wheeler's line has been a lot better.
yeah. That's been the line that we've loved a lot here. I had left Connor off the Prize Picks, but it was only because I've talked about him so much. This guy he just loves to shoot the puck. Ehlers hit the shot prop the other night. I like that line too quite a bit, and you can find Pierre-Luc Dubois at 1.5 on Bet365. Usually he pops up mid-afternoon. So I would take. I mean, I like that entire trio for shot props, but my favorite would be Kyle Connor 2.5. Maybe Miller, if Horvat doesn't play, like somebody is going to have to shoot the puck there. I don't know the extent on Horvat, if he's going to be good or not. I'm just looking here now on the fly. I mean, it's early, so he's considered day to day. It's a late game. Yeah, there's really nothing. Travis Green says he's day to day. He could potentially miss Wednesday's game, so he only played the 15 minutes. He left early in the last game. So he's having a good year. He's a good player for them. He logs a lot of ice time, a lot of key faceoffs for him, power play time as well.
I'm not sure they beat a little bit for much, but I mean Miller and Bosher should get a lot of work before that's out. So
yeah,
I can imagine those two guys don't get quite a bit of shot.
Miller sometimes his shot prop is at 1.5 too. Bet365, which I know he's had just the 2 shots in the last 2, and you look at the game log, it is 1 or 2. Like you'll have to sweat it out, but the ice time for JT Miller over the past couple of weeks, especially since Pettersson has been out of the lineup, he's been taking some draws. He's been playing center. It's crazy. 22, 22, 25, 23, 23, 24, 22 the last time out. So he's just getting a lot of ice time. And if if Horvat's going to be out, then Miller's going to be, shooting the puck a ton. Let's head over to DK and we will take a look at, I guess this is a weird slate, right? I mean, it's tough. There's not a lot of games. Yeah, 3 games. So I don't know. What's your strategy when it comes to? Do you have a strategy when it comes to 3 games? I know you're a big FanDuel guy, but
actually, I've been playing more DK lately.
Okay.
Yeah. So, tonight's slate's very strange. I mean, Pittsburgh line.
There's gonna be so chalk.
It jumps off the sheet to me. I mean, I got them 7.5 points better than anybody else. It's just, they're real expensive too, though. I mean, they're $4 million. They're 3.7 more than the Winnipeg 2 line. So I don't know. Maybe you fade them and hope that Buffalo doesn't give up more than a goal or 2 to them.
Tokarski night. Tokarski night. A little flashback from that cup run. I don't know either, man. Buffalo is going to be really chalky. We bring up the center position here on DK. We have Crosby at 7-7. Scheifele 6'9", Malkin's not in the lineup. Kopitar 6'5", Horvat we don't know, as we said 6'3", Couture 5'9", Miller 5'8", Kempe 5'2", Hurdle 4'9", Dubois 4'8". I like that Jets second line too. I think there's a ton of value. We get over to wing, we'll see it. There's a lot. I feel like Kyle Connor's been mispriced for a guy who's top 5 in goals, but yeah. I guess like if you're only playing one lineup, what's the point of having that one lineup with these pens, especially in a tournament when everybody else is going to have pens? Maybe you need to be a little bit different here. And I think the way to do that would be with the Jets with the second line, or just getting real nuts potentially and going with this Sharks, Couture at 5'9", or taking Hurdle, like pairing up maybe Hurdle and Meyer, or going all in with Couture and Kane when we get over there. Or maybe just taking a look at like a McCann.
I was just looking at I was about to say, I think you might be better off taking a shot at Pittsburgh too, and going McCann, Kapanen, or Rodriguez, a couple of those pieces.
Yeah. Or just being right out to lunch and going Eric Stahl. I don't know if you want to put your money down on that, but Stahl seems checked out. He's waiting to get traded. 3 goals and 10 points in 30 games. It's not for me, but if you want to just think outside the box, and maybe this may be the opportunity to do so with the 3 games and just Buffalo being, massive underdogs. I don't know, Russ. I don't think I could do it. McCann is interesting to me, though. I think there's something there potentially. Like, this has been a bad team. They lost 14 games. 9 of the 14 they've lost by at least 2 goals. So they haven't been in a lot of the games either, Russ.
Now, there's something to say about these games where there's a potential blowout too, because a lot of times when that happens, I mean, Crosby won't play much in the third, or they'll just affect some of their bigger guys. And you get some extra ice time for that second one in the third period, and maybe they can squeeze out an extra goal. So I don't know. If you're playing one team tonight, which I would, I mean, it's such a terrible slate, I wouldn't even bother playing one team tonight. I know you can't take a night off. People can't take a night off, but
no nights off.
This would be the night to take off. But if you're going to play one team tonight, I almost just fade Pittsburgh and try to hit something big. And there's no reason to play Pittsburgh.
Okay.
If you're playing 2 teams, go ahead, use Pittsburgh on one of the teams. If you're gonna put in Crosby, Gunsel, and Rust, you're gonna have to hit the nuts on everything else.
Yeah, you are. You're gonna have to. The second part, you could do that, but the secondary line or third pieces that you have will you'll have to hit for sure, and it's okay. That's the strategy. You can mix and match. You can go Pittsburgh line 1 and then maybe Winnipeg line 2. Winnipeg, you won't be able to get Winnipeg line 1 in there. It just won't fit. But you can maybe get some LA and San Jose guys over at the wing: Gensel, Kane, Ehlers, Connor, Russ, Besser, Wheeler. Dustin Brown, Meyer, Kapanen's up to 5K, Iafallo 4.8. But yeah, I mean, Paul Stastny's 4.5. I know he's on that first line. LeBanc 4.4. He's on that first line, getting more power play time, as you alluded to in the Discord chat earlier in the week. He's bumped up, and his ice time has really creeped up there as well. I'm looking for some value, and maybe Anthony Ciu. You brought him up earlier. Rodriguez 3-1 to just think outside the box potentially. Anthony Ciu has been, he's been decent actually. He picked up an assist. He's got a couple goals. He's got 12 points on the season in only 23 games, but he's getting some ice time. Played 18 minutes the other night. He's on that second line with Carter. Had a nice little pass to Carter on the breakaway there on Sunday. So that's kind of where I lean with just some of those guys I think we're really on Jets. Over at defense, Letang, Burns, a lot of guys who were just out here, top dogs like Barry, Nurse, Petrie, Weber with that postponed game. So Letang, Burns, Doughty up at the top, Pionk, Morrissey, Quinn Hughes, Erik Karlsson, Edler, Forbort rather, is going to block some shots for you. That's basically it. Hamonic, same sort of deal. Ristolainen. Ferraro has been blocking some shots, hitting them. I streamed them this week in season long. Is there any, I know you're all over the value when you're looking and break it down. Is there any value defense that stand out to you, or are you spending up for some of these guys?
No, I think they caught up to us on some of the value guys. I mean, Hanifin got moved up to 4,500 tonight, and not just plugging and playing him like we have the last couple nights, but he's certainly still in play. Oh wow, actually that's on the early slate, so can't even use him on the main slate. There's not a whole lot that jumped off the sheet to me tonight.
Morrissey's okay, I think, at 4.8.
Yeah, it's not bad. I find myself more and more just plugging in 2 min price guys at defense. It's just there's such a big discrepancy in the prices on DraftKings. It's like if you're not going to spend 5,000, you might as well just spend 2,800 or something on the cheap guy, and just hopefully you could steal a couple blocks and maybe a lucky assist or something. But on FanDuel, the prices are much more compacted. Pretty much the cheapest guys are 3,500 on FanDuel, so you're better off spending up a little there because the discrepancies aren't nearly as big. But on DraftKings, you can save over 3,000 going down to one of those cheap guys, and that helps you a lot more on offense than you save on DraftKings or on FanDuel.
I think I called him Schultz earlier, but Nate Schmidt is who I was thinking of.
He's been decent.
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping for some blocks, right? You're hoping that he could, if he hits a score sheet and blocks a couple, you look back, he had 18 fantasy points against the Sens 4 games ago. He had an assist and he had 5 shots and 2 blocks. Like you're kind of hoping for that. He's not min price, but maybe John Marino 2.9.
One of the guys, Quinn Hughes has been kind of quiet, but for 4,700 on the first power play, with Horvat out potentially, he's going to have to pick up some offense. It's not a bad flyer. Erik Karlsson, he was doing well until I started playing him. Then he's done nothing the last 3 games. So I probably
let us know if you're going to play him.
I won't use him tonight, so you guys can probably cash in on that ticket. Edler's been pretty solid, especially against a team that's going to shoot the puck a lot. Hopefully you could lock in the shot block bonus for him for 4,500 potentially. I don't see a lot tonight. There's just not a lot of really good values tonight.
In goal, I like Hellebuck 8-2. He's a little bit pricey. I probably won't get up to Jari or Casey DeSmith. I understand it. Maybe you're going to get the W there. How many shots are you going to get? 8-3 for both of those guys. I don't know. It's not for me. I don't really like to spend up in goal. I think if you're not feeling the Jets, Demko, right? It's either you go against Demko or you.
Yeah, if you're not playing the Jets, you should go with Demko.
Yeah.
And even if he loses, he should get 30 plus saves. I played him on Monday, which was probably a stupid play, but I've been riding him pretty well the last couple of games.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right? He's been underpriced and he's been hitting the save bonus, and a lot of people are playing him too. So there is something to be said about playing Jets too. I think people will be on the Jets, but in a bigger slate, I feel like sometimes lately, because he's been so hot, a lot of people are hesitant to maybe roster players against Demko. They'd rather just save the money and rock Demko. So I think it's either Jets or Demko for you. If you're not playing Jets, you rock Demko. But I'm on the Jets side of things today, and I think I'm just going to ride with Hellebuck. I have no problem. Maybe if you want to, Dubnyk or Jones are just a little bit too expensive for me. I'm not totally into it. Matt, give us your thoughts on DK and tee us up here for the picks. How'd we do on Monday?
Is it okay if I say I'm not playing DK tonight? Because there's literally
like
nothing.
Russ said, it's maybe one of those days where you just get involved in some props here tonight.
I think on DK, I'll just play in a couple GP with absolute dart throws and leave money on the table and just be okay with it at the end of the day. This is a slate where I think you can take some chances and your buddies won't ostracize you for it. Let's jump into the bets here. So you did actually pretty good. I say that like it's a surprise, but I'm not. I don't know why I said it like that.
Thanks.
5 for 7. You went, actually it was more than 5 for 7. My math is terrible. You hit the Carolina money line, Winnipeg money line, Islanders money line. The Edmonton money line didn't count because there was no game. Flames money line you missed. You did give out 3 bonus puck lines too. 2 out of 3 hit. You got Colorado and Winnipeg missed on mini. So that brings your win-loss record to 89 and 61. Your total is 89 out of 147. Shot props, pretty solid night, my friend. 5 for 7. Bringing your win-loss to 5 and 2 there if you want to do it that way. I got to give it out both ways now after getting called out. Zuccarello and Landy are the only 2 that missed. You hit on Zibanejad, Svechnikov, Rantanen, Connor, and Brown, bringing your shots win-loss total to 23 and 10. Or no, not 23 and 10. That is a lie. Brings it to 28 for 32. That means you are 28 and 4 on shot props.
Oh, baby. Let's
maybe the shot props we should have been tracking since the start of the season.
It's all good. Yeah, so shot props again today. I'm gonna go back to Zook. I know he burned us, but I got to go back there. 1.5. Get it in some parlays. It's starting to creep up. If you don't do it now, I mean, closer to puck drop, this may get up to like 175, which is getting close to fade. But Zook 1.5, Crosby 2.5. These are overs, by the way. Kyle Connor 2.5, Dustin Brown 2.5. Those are my favorite four. I'm just going to avoid the Kachucks. Just going to avoid the whole Calgary and Ottawa game when it comes to shot props. I think if north of the border, Bet365 again, use that free prop shop. You could potentially find Ehlers in there at 2.5 or Pierre-Luc Dubois or Kirill, but let's just keep it to those four: Zook, Crosby, Connor, and Brown. Those are the guys. Again, let's have some fun with maybe the no points or points. It's a weird slate, right? It's a weird DFS night. It's heavy favorites. It's tough. Dadonov minus 148, no points for Evgeny Dadonov, 5 straight without one. Raquel minus 122, no points. Dollar Bill Kirill Kaprizov minus 155 to have a point. And they kind of correlate too. If you want to, if Kaprizov gets a point, Matt Zuccarello may get one too. He's right around the same price. And then, oh man, something tells me Buffalo tonight. I'm gonna keep Hall and Reinhart off. I think maybe potentially they could hit the score sheet. But if you want to get nuts, both of those guys minus 118. Calgary and Ottawa under 6.5. Minnesota and Anaheim under 5.5. Jets and Mini by 2. I know that may be like, why would you pick them under? And then you're picking them on the puck line. I think they win the game like 3-1 or 3-0. Maybe 2-0 will be fine under. Do you have a favorite bet, Russ, on the way out? A team that you're backing here tonight? Is it the Jets?
Yeah, I like the Jets a lot. I'm actually going to play them on the puck line, especially if just taking a shot at Horvat doesn't play. Yeah, I can't see Vancouver putting up a bunch of goals tonight. So hopefully Winnipeg can.
If you take them on the puck line, that's pretty decent there. That's
plus one. I got them at plus 170.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. I like that one a lot as well. Okay, Russ, I appreciate it, man. Good stuff. Check out Russ on Twitter, Russ1 Prentice, and he does some great stuff, like I said, over at FTN. If you're looking for a subscription, FTN Bets at an all-time low, $99 for the rest of the season. We'll be giving picks and DFS plays all the way up until the Stanley Cup is raised. If you don't want to just sign up for the rest of the year, you can do a monthly package as well over at ftnbets.com/pricing. Use the promo code Meaney from Russ, Matt Best. Shut that phone off. It's going to be blowing up all week, buddy. You got Tim Peel canned. We'll be back on Friday. Good luck tonight. Cheers.